People are coming in. Hi, everyone.
Hello, good afternoon. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Mel from Easy Weddings, and I'm your host today. And I'm joined by the lovely Emma, who you would have seen if you are engaging with the Easy Weddings Instagram page. She is our webinar pro for this afternoon, taking us through Instagram Reels crash course.
Yes. Hi, everyone. Thank you, Mel, for the intro. I can see people. Oh my gosh, so many people. Well, hopefully the people that are in today get a bunch of great value out of this. Make yourselves known in the chat. I would love to know who you are, who's tuning in, what your business is, all of that stuff. I think, Mel, we've got a few polls as well if you just want to launch some of those. But yes, for those of you who don't know me, also, can you please let me know if you can see my screen share right now? If not, let me know and I will unshare and reshare. There might be a few technical difficulties with that. I just want to make sure that I'm not going through slides and people are like, I don't know what you're talking about. I can't see anything. So, hi, everyone. Sue, Narelle, very exciting to see everyone. We've got the poll going as well. Make sure that you're answering that. Oh, we've got people from all over the country, which is super cool.
Exciting.
Yes, very exciting. Yes, you can see my screen. I saw a yes from Rita, so I'm assuming that's yes to seeing my screen. I'm gonna now get to the next slide then. My name is Emma Oythaler. I'm the head of social media here at Easy Weddings. You might not recognize me from that professional photo, but you might recognize me from these silly screenshots from Reels that you might have seen if you follow us on Instagram. If you don't follow us on Instagram yet, make sure that you do that because I'm offended personally.
So just a reminder for where you can find us on socials. If you are a wedding business, we are Wedding Supplier Network on Facebook and Instagram. And if you are a fan or a bride or groom or couple or member of the public who isn't a wedding business, you can find us at Easy Weddings on Facebook and Instagram.
Yes. Correct. Thank you, Mel. Also, this is going to be recorded as well. So I'll get into this in a sec, but there is going to be a lot of information. We did do a little survey when we first announced the webinar to see where people were at with their reel abilities. And a lot of you came back saying that you were pretty new, as in didn't really know anything about them. You know that they're important. Obviously, if you're here today, you know that they're important for some reason and that you need to get onto them, but you don't know where to start. There are a few of you out there. There are also a few of you who are intermediate. So maybe you've dipped your toe, maybe you've tried it out, but you haven't seen any results. You feel like maybe it's a waste of your time. And so you are here to understand why it's not a waste of your time and get the most out of that. And then maybe you're actually really, really good at Reels, but you just want a few more tips or some inspiration or that kind of thing. So hopefully you get as much information wherever you're at on the spectrum as you need, but this will be recorded. So don't stress about taking notes if things are going really quickly. You can always come back to the recording and watch it again later on. So I did want to say that, but yes, this is me. Hi, everyone. What we're going to cover today, as I mentioned before, we are going to go through as much as possible with hopefully not overwhelming you all too much. I really hope that you don't come out of it thinking, oh my gosh, that was a lot, but instead come out of it thinking, I am empowered. I'm going to go create some reels. I am going to kick Reels butts. I'm going to do whatever I can to get it out there. That is the hope. We are going to go through why Reels. So as I mentioned before, if you're here, you know that they're important, but I want to tell you why they're important because maybe it doesn't really make that much sense. We're going to go through the basics. So for the noobs out there, and I say that in the most endearing way possible. I was once a noob, so no offense at all. We are going to go through everything from where the Reels button even is on your Instagram, all the way to a little bit more advanced for those of you who do know that information and want a little bit more info from me. We're going to go through planning, so how to actually plan out Reels and kind of maximize efficiency with your Reels and your whole planning abilities, like not having to just, do it on the fly, how to actually plan it out and make the most out of your time. We are going to look at repurposing Reels, so how to make the most out of your Reels that you create, but also Reels that are already out there. We are going to make some Reels together. Now, unfortunately, it's not going to be a live me making it, sharing my phone screen with you, simply because I like to keep a little bit of mystery, and maybe you don't need to see all of the takes that I have to go through to get the reel, and me embarrassing myself like 20 times until I get the shot. But I have pre-recorded myself making a few different types of reels and just explaining what I'm doing so that you can make them with me. And then we're going to go through some tips and ideas for you to kind of go away with, and hopefully that will guide you in your first steps into making reels. And then I'm also going to share some useful resources, accounts that I follow personally that help with, they give tips or they give updates on what's happening with Instagram, or they like share trending audio and stuff like that. So that's really cool. And then also other wedding businesses or pages that do really well on reels that you should follow, just to get a little bit more inspiration. I also just want to say I am recovering from COVID. So if I need to take a quick glass of water or mute myself to cough for 2 seconds, I literally just came back this week. So just bear with me if I go into a bit of a coughing fit. Hopefully that won't happen, touch wood. All right. Before we go into all of this, I want to tell you a little bit more about my Reels journey, because even though you might think, oh, this girl she's so confident, she posts these videos of herself where she's being an idiot and like she doesn't care, she's just like doing it well, and like, I can assure you that is still not the case, but that was not always the case for sure. The first reel I ever did in my entire career was for Easy Weddings, firstly. So I've only been with Easy Weddings for like 14 months. I have not been doing this for years and years and years. So I'm like you. You can be here in 14 months' time easily. If I can do it, you can. But the first reel that I ever did for Easy Weddings and in my entire life, although you might think, wow, 33.8K views, that's amazing. First reel, holy moly, that's awesome. No, it was not awesome. Basically, the idea behind this reel was I launched some Instagram polls on Instagram stories asking people about specific trends and whether they thought those trends were, I think the wording was still cool versus old school, like still in or out. And from that, I created a reel saying wedding trends were ready to say bye, bye, bye to the song Bye, Bye, Bye. It made sense in my head. It did not make sense to anyone else. It went so badly. The only reason it got so many views was because people were outraged that, this random person on Instagram was telling them what was still a trend and what wasn't. I got comments like, you should fire this girl. What kind of marketing team approves this stuff? Just like, oh, who are you to say what's a trend? And it was so bad, to the point where I was like, I am not going to show my face on this page ever again. Like, people hate me now. Like, it's official. I can't do this ever again. It made me doubt myself. I didn't show my face again for, I think maybe like 2 months. I was like, I'm just going to repost other people's reels until hopefully this has calmed down a little bit and people are ready to see my face again. So that was not a great start to my reels journey. However, this taught me that being myself is what works best. So in that reel, I mean, it's still there. You can scroll back to see it if you want to. Maybe give me a little bit of love on it if you do scroll back. I've learned from my mistakes. But what it has taught me, yes, in that reel, I'm not really like being myself. I thought I had to like put on this bit of a persona where I'm like a bit sassy and like, you know, potentially appearing a bit bitchy, for lack of a better word, and judgmental, which I'm not at all in my personality. That was not, you know, that's not who I am. I'm not wearing my glasses. I'm wearing a full face of makeup, which is not really who I am either. And so obviously now the reels that I have been doing since then, I'm much more myself. And I think the really good thing about that is that our target audience is really kind of people like me, you know, late 20s women, you know, it's more relatable being myself.
I think that sense of authenticity really helps. Like you're not just you're a person behind an account. You're not just a brand. And I think, you know, when we're talking about small businesses, you know, they're brands and they're engaging with their audience and they're real people. And a few webinars ago, we were talking about, you know, our couples want to engage with real people and they want to see who the celebrant is that is doing their wedding and who is the person behind all those, you know, all the you know, the flowers and all the different.
Exactly. Yeah. I think it was Lauren Bridge. I don't know if Lauren's here today, but she was on our webinar about how to make more sales, I think. And she said exactly that people love, she's a celebrant, and she was saying people come to her because she is showing her personality on her Instagram page. And so when they talk to her, they already expect that that's how she's going to be, which is a really great point. Definitely authenticity. The other thing that it's taught me is that sometimes reels that you think are going to perform really well actually don't perform really well, and then vice versa as well. If you think they're going to like potentially be like quite average, they actually end up performing really well. And that's fine. That's okay. We just move on. We keep creating, like, just set your expectations low, I suppose, and see how you go. The anxiety and overwhelm, I cannot tell you. After that first reel, every time I pressed that share button, I was in a panic, like updating the reel to make sure that it was getting likes and comments. And, you know, as soon as I would post that thing, I would be like, oh my God, is it working? Is it working? Like, are people liking this? That goes away, or it doesn't go away fully. I'm not going to lie. Like, I still get that when I press the share button, but definitely not to the same extent. It lessens with practice. The more you do it, the more comfortable you feel with it, and the less you will dwell on the results of it. And it's also okay for a reel to underperform. Just learn from the insights and keep creating, no matter what. In the survey, we got a lot of, or not a lot, but a few responses saying, you know, I've made like 3 reels or something, and they just haven't done that well. So like, why? I'm just not going to keep doing it. Like, they're not really doing much. No, keep creating, keep pushing them out. It's really important to just get that. Everything is content. Like, just get that content out there. Now, why reels? Why are you here today? You know it's important, but you're not sure why it's important. The main reason is because Instagram is competing with TikTok, and we are going to be talking about TikTok and YouTube Shorts a little bit later on. But basically, Instagram is going, this is like how I see Instagram in my brain. Instagram is going, look, I want to keep you here. I don't want you to go get something that I'm not offering you from someone else. They did that with Instagram stories from Snapchat. They took that from Snapchat. They're taking stuff from other platforms so that you get everything that you're looking for within that platform. So they're saying, don't go to this other platform. I'm going to reward you for using this exact same thing here. So you are actually going to get more reach and engagement on a reel, because Instagram is trying to reward you for using their platform. So usually, not every single time, but I would say almost every single time, you will get more engagement on a reel than you would, more reach and engagement on a reel than you would on a regular post. Not every single time, but I would say like 85-90% of the time, there will be more, at least reach. Maybe not engagement, but at least reach, more eyeballs on it. Also, Instagram has announced that it is moving towards, and like this was a while ago, so like now it's almost completely a video first platform. So that means that they are encouraging, the more video content, the more reels you post, they again will reward you. And now I know that might be a little bit stressful for photographers, because obviously you're a photo first business and not a video first business. But we are going to go through a few different reels examples and ways that you can kind of combat that, because it is really important that you do reels, even though you only might have photos on you to use. So that's the main reason. Also, please feel free to pop questions into the chat. I might go through them at the very end, but I would love questions if we have a bit of time at the end. I forgot to mention that at the start. All right, so the basics. Are we ready? There's a lot to cover. Okay, the do's and the don'ts of reels. First, let's go through the do's. As we mentioned before, you want to create authentic content. You want to show your personality. People want to know the kind, especially with weddings, because weddings are so personal. They have to be a representation of the couple. And so the couple, when they're doing their research and looking for suppliers, they want suppliers who kind of understand them, understand their vision, and understand their personality. Okay, good. I just got a notification. I thought my notifications were turned off, but I don't think anybody saw that, so that's good. You want to use trending audio. So we're going to go through that as well. Obviously, trending audio means that if you use it, you have a higher chance of trending, or your reel trending. Speak to your brand content pillars. Now, I'm not going to go into that too heavily, but I have gone into content pillars in past webinars about content planning and content strategy. So we do have a webinar bank that Mel, you've sent before, and you might send again, I'm sure, that includes those webinars. But content pillars are basically like your main themes of your business that you want to put out there. So you might have inspiration, you might have behind the scenes, you might have real weddings, you might have like memes as a content pillar, like funny, relatable stuff. You want to speak to those content pillars, because at the end of the day, your reels are a representation of your brand. You want to hook the viewer in, and we're going to go through that as well. All of these things we're going to go through, don't worry. So, but you've got a few seconds at the start to hook the viewer in, to then get them to like continue watching the video. Maybe add a call to action at the end. So that depends on what your reel is about. So I don't know, perhaps you're trying to get them to click the link in your bio, or perhaps you want them to engage in the comments. And so you just say, oh, like comment below, or you have just written like top tips in your reels, but you explain them in the comments. And so you say, read the, in the caption, and you say, read the caption below to learn more. Calls to action are really important. Use the Instagram music library. And in general, again, Instagram will reward you for using stuff that they have in their platform. So don't go and create your reel outside of the platform and then put it in with music that you've used from outside the platform. If you use it straight from Instagram music library, that will help you get more reach and engagement. Now, don't use landscape footage. And I know this is a bit difficult, like with videographers, you film everything landscape for your final videos, but please don't use landscape footage, please. If you use landscape footage, there will be like black empty space on either side of the reel. And that's just not really nice to look at, and people won't really want to watch the whole thing. So you can always crop, and we're going to go through dimensions after this, just a little bit later. But make sure that it's not landscape. I will personally message you to ask you to take it down in the nicest way possible. But I don't want to see them. Don't go for low quality, low resolution. Obviously, we want high resolution. At the end of the day, if you put out content that is low quality, that makes your brand look like a low quality brand. So we want to put out the highest quality content, not pixelated, not blurry, to make sure that our brand looks as high quality as it actually is. So that doesn't mean that you need to have like a really high def camera. I use my phone. I have an iPhone 12. It's not even the latest iPhone, but it works just fine. You can use your phone, but for example, if you use a landscape video, as your original video, and then try to crop it into the proper size, because you're cropping it so tight, it will come out a bit pixelated. We don't want to do that. Unmatched audio. So that's, for example, if you're like singing to a song, or you've got a voiceover or something, and your lips are meant to move with the song or with the voiceover, but it doesn't match. Like you're a little bit delayed or out of sync, or you're a little bit ahead and out of sync. That's not very nice to watch either. Post without purpose. So again, that kind of goes back to the content pillars. You want to have there has to be a purpose behind your reel. It might just be, I want to make people laugh. That's fine. I do that all the time. I want to be relatable. I want to make people laugh. It can be, I want to educate people. It can be, I want people to go to my website. Just make sure that there is a purpose, that it makes sense for your business. You're getting your business out there. Sorry, that is my dog barking behind me. Don't add in too much text. Make sure that you're not putting too much text that people aren't having to stop and figure out how to read the whole thing before it's even over. Place text where it can't be read. Don't place text where it can't be read. There is, when you're creating your reel and you're putting text in, make sure that it's not all the way to one side or all the way down the bottom, because the reel will crop depending on the phone that's watching it. So you want to make sure that it's somewhere in the middle. And when you're moving around your text, when you're creating the reel, little lines will come up. Oh, somebody's at my door. I'm so sorry. I'm going to just ignore it. Anyways.
I can chat if you need to.
No, it's okay. I'm just going to ignore it. Sorry about that, everyone. This is the joys of working from home. Yes, make sure that the text is placed where it can be read on any screen, somewhere in the middle. Don't worry about hashtags. In the survey, we got a lot of people asking about hashtags. I put all these hashtags in and it doesn't do anything. I think it's the CEO. The CEO of Instagram has come out to say that hashtags actually don't really matter anymore. What's more important now is putting keywords in your captions or in the text that you're putting on top of the reel, because similar to taking ideas from TikTok, Instagram is trying to be a bit of a search engine. So similar to Google, when you're putting stuff into the search bar on Google, that's how the search engine works. You're putting in keywords and then it'll show you what you're looking for. So Instagram is trying to do that. They want you to research something on the Instagram Explore page, section, and you don't have to go through hashtags to find exactly what you're looking for. So people aren't really using hashtags for their research anymore. They're just putting in their keywords and seeing what comes up. So that's more important. You can put hashtags, that's fine. Put as many hashtags as you want, but don't stress about them. It's not worth the stress. And unless you've done any of the stuff that I've mentioned above, don't delete. It's okay. As I mentioned before, it might underperform, but do not delete it. It might work out really, really well. Whatever it is, it's content. I didn't delete that first reel that I posted that flopped. It's okay. It's so far down now. Nobody's going to scroll back that far, I hope. Just don't delete it. Keep it there. All right. Now, we're going to go through different types of reels. We've had people say, I don't want to show my face. What does that look like? We've got people saying, I do want to show my face, but I don't have the confidence. We've got photographers out there that want to only post their photos. And then we might have a mix of different types. So I've got a few different examples here that we're going to go through. Oh my gosh. I'm so sorry. I'm just going to click play. They're still there.
That's a great question. Let me think how I want to answer this.
So this is one of
yes or no.
This is one of the voiceover examples. That's obviously my face, right? Arguably, there is a lot of text here, but this one worked.
You're simply the best, better than all the rest, better than anyone ever met. And I'm stuck on your heart. I hang on every word you say.
So that's obviously Without Face. It's a bit of a venue tour, which we love. And you can do this kind of, I mean, I'll show you, there's another slide with more examples, but you can do this with whatever supplier type you are. This is a venue visit, but you can do that if you're a florist, you can do it if you're a hairdresser, whatever makeup artist, whatever supplier type you belong to, category you belong to, you don't have to ever show your face if you don't want to. Oh, they're knocking at my door. I'm so sorry, Mel. Can you
go for it?
Please?
With the example that Emma just showed, like she said, if you're a photographer and you only have stills, that's a good example of utilizing photos to create movement. Even though it's just, you know, a series of shots, putting them together like that and displaying them as a reel, you can actually repurpose it to make it look like there's some movement going on. So.
Sorry, thank you, Mel, for saving me. Again, the joys of
what I'm here for.
Yes, thank you. All right, so that, I don't know if Mel, you just said this, but one of the things that is really cool about this one, and we're going to talk about this with the audio side of stuff, is that I'm going to play it again, and you can see it matches the audio. So every time the beat changes or the music changes, I don't know the terminology for this stuff, but every time the music changes, the image changes as well. So that makes it even more engaging and enjoyable to watch. And now here's a little bit of a mix.
You know, it's not the same as it was, as it was, as it was. You know, it's not the same. Answer the phone. Harry, do you know good alone? Why are you sitting? What kind of pills do you want? Ring it in the bell, and nobody's coming tonight.
So that's another example, obviously. Now, let's go through the next one. So this one I have used from a few of our suppliers. The first one, again, I don't know, they might be in here somewhere. But this one is from Mel from Melly Rain Events. So this one's actually quite cool because she obviously shows her face and her personality, but she's also doing the tour and showing kind of the behind the scenes of, like, that's one of your content pillars, behind the scenes. I recommend checking her Instagram out. Actually, she does some really good reels, a mix of her real weddings and then also her being funny and showing her face. She's got some inspiring content out there. Now, Without Face, and this one is from Stacy Brewer Cakes.
Ooh, the whole wide world is ours to roam. Whoa, whoa, will you go with me? Will you take my hand to beat the band?
Making me hungry.
You're hungry? I know. That's what works well. I'm starving. I'm drooling. I'm like wiping the drool off my face. Again, on the beat, the image changes, which works really well. And then here's a bit of a mix. Really short, really snappy, but this works really well. I'm seeing questions. I'm not ignoring you. We're going to talk about these things as we go. So keep your questions. They're really good. We're covering all of this, I promise. Now, let's talk about size and length. This was a question that was just asked like not that long ago. Maximum length. There we go, from Marilyn. So our maximum length for a reel is now 90 seconds. It used to be 60 seconds max. They've extended that now to 90 seconds. It's still short form video, but it can be longer than it used to be, which is great. However, I still would recommend to try to keep it under 15 seconds if you can, but you don't have to. I've done reels that are 60 seconds. I've done reels that are over 60 seconds that have performed well. The only reason 15 seconds max is good to think of is because people have a short attention span. And so you want to try to, again, hook them in really quickly. And if your reel goes for too long, they might stop watching before it's done, but that's fine. Like, you're still going to get that as a view on your final reel. It's just, yeah, it depends on what the content is, I suppose. Like for a venue visit reel, for example, our venue experts go to visit venues and do site visits, and they'll send me a bunch of content from those types of days. And those usually go for about 60 seconds because there's just so much to showcase of the venue. But then if I'm doing like something silly, I mean, people only want to see somebody being silly for that long, you know? And then for your aspect ratio, again, please film. If you're doing it on your phone like this, not phone like this. And if you're filming, if you're a videographer and you've got a landscape video, once you've got it in the highest def possible, make it 9:16 in aspect ratio. So it's basically full screen. I mean, you might have most of you would have seen reels before. They take up basically your whole screen. So make sure that fits the screen basically. What you need to have before you even go into the Instagram app, have established content pillars. Again, I spoke about that very briefly, but make sure that you know what you want, what themes you want to put out there. That will help guide your reels creations. If you know, okay, I want to speak to this content pillar, or I want to speak to this one, you know which direction you're going in with the reel that you're creating. Trends research, and I'm going to tell you about how to do that. A reels plan, and again, I'm going to show you how to do that. Make sure you've got pre-recorded footage if applicable. So for example, with these venue visits that I was talking about, obviously I need to have that pre-recorded footage on my phone before I start creating the reel. But it might even be like if you're at a wedding and you want to post about the wedding that you just did over last weekend, make sure that you're taking all of that footage and you've got it on your phone ready to go as soon as you're ready to create the reel. Good lighting. Now, this doesn't mean that you need to have a huge ring light if you're filming yourself. This is fine lighting. I rarely use a ring light when I create reels, as long as it's good lighting and it's not in the dark or like really dark imagery, then that's fine. High quality content, as I mentioned before, I won't harp on that, but make sure that it's not too pixelated. And then, especially if you're going to be filming yourself, a stand or a tripod or a ring light if you want it to be. So I have this. It's nothing fancy. I bought it off Amazon. I rarely use the actual light, probably because the light's not that great, but I use it as just a stand. So I just clip my phone in here, and then I go off and film myself doing stupid dances or whatever else I do. So make sure you've got something to sit your phone on so that you're not like propping it against like a million books or like something like that. I used to do that before I had this handy tool. Highly recommend it. Claim it on tax.
Now, Emma, you talked about lighting before. Is there an advantage for recording during the day, or it doesn't really matter? Like if you've got good light, it doesn't really matter if you're doing it in the evening.
I think there's definitely an advantage. Like the lighting will be better in the day rather than like the yellow light from your ceiling light, or even like if you've got white light bulbs, like it's just not as nice. Like you can tell immediately when it's done at night. It's not a huge issue. Like if that's the only time that you can record, that's fine. That's totally fine. It's just important that like your face, especially if you're going to be doing voiceovers and stuff, like you want the lighting to be good because you want to be able to see what's actually happening on the screen. So the other thing too is like and this is just if you want to look your best, you don't want to have like light coming straight down, because then you're going to have like black under your eyes. Like the shadows from your face are going to look a little bit like it's going to age you a little bit. The makeup artists out there will know what I'm talking about. You know, you want to have lighting straight onto your face, that kind of thing. But you'll figure that out as you know, for example, with this, I will do takes, like maybe 10 different takes on like different angles until I'm happy with how it looks. So yeah, it's just like, I guess just use your best judgment for that kind of stuff.